Okay. So in the beginning of this, I went through and when you're watching it, there's a speed run of me rendering the fellow over on the left-hand side. The fellow on the left-hand side and the horsey went together a lot faster than the gal over on the right-hand side, and that's because I was able to get a whole bunch of shapes, and I basically created a shape library out of the gal over on the right-hand side and just copied and pasted those layers um, up within my Illustrator file. Let's get that open over here and just sort of rearranged them. Now, I'm in a good spot within this design. When I created the logo, everything is on different layers, and it's going to take me a while to be able to do a color treatment on this logo where it says ain't no mountain high enough. So to get around that, and for the sake of time and the frustration that sometimes comes along with working within Adobe Illustrator, I exported my scene as a PNG file and then I cropped it down at 300 DPI, and now I'm opening this thing up within Photoshop. So in Photoshop, I've very quickly gone through and used the select color range, grabbed my blacks, pasted that, which gave me my logo up onto a new layer, deleted out any other blacks that got pulled along with it, selected the flat blue color for the sky, dropped in a blue jean texture that I just downloaded off of a Google image search, and then cut that out around my blue sky texture. So now I've got my blue jean texture in there, and that's really changing the feeling of this image quite a bit. Now, the benefit of all those little steps that I just talked about is that it allows me to be able to explore with this logo very quickly. So just by double clicking on the icon of the layer over on the layers panel. Sorry, it's pulled out and sort of in a weird spot right now. I'm messy like that. I can just go to color overlay quick enough. You can see where it's starting to pick up some of these other colors in here that we don't want it to. There we go. And now I can start to play around with that. So let's just see what happens if we pull the pink. And the pink isn't really as readable as I'd like for it to be, but my lighter pink color seems to be working pretty well. But we're still kind of getting hurt with the readability on some of this lettering that was going on so well when it was in the dark black. So because we're doing kind of a Western theme, I think an outline here is going to be okay. So I'm just turning on my outline. That's way too thick. Let's turn down the size. Oh, that is looking retro right there. Let's see what it looks like with the darkest color. With the black around it, readability is still getting hurt a little bit there. So I don't think that's quite it. Okay, the red around there is working pretty nicely for me. But since we're working with modern Photoshop, let's see if we can't do anything more interesting. So I'm going to add an inner shadow, and I'm going to change the distance and size of that inner shadow. There we go. And let's up the opacity. That's way too dark. Size is 1, distance, turning that way down. And so now we're starting to get the red and the green, the best of both worlds. And I can control the direction that's going, though it's not that big of a deal. And we can turn down the opacity just a little bit more. So that's giving me my A is becoming a quite a bit darker. I like it. I don't think that's the same treatment that needs to go on the lower letters. So because of the way that we're working, we can, oops, let's leave the top as is for right now. And I'm just going to lasso tool on my Western painting right around here. I can shift, hold down shift to be able to add to my selection. Works pretty well. Hit Control X. Missing just a little bit there. Control X and Control V. So now we've got that same text separated out, color overlay, and it's just in the white without the outline around the outside of it. So this process can work pretty good for you. See if we can't make it just a little bit lighter. Readability still getting hurt just a little bit, but I think it's feeling stronger now. So I'm doing non-destructive editing here. So one of the things that I can do is I can duplicate my layer, all right, with the big ain't no mountain high enough text on it. And I'm going to rasterize my layer styles. So by rasterizing my layer styles, all the outline stroke, all that inner magic that I just did on it a second ago, um, is now attached to the actual pixels. It's not an effect anymore, which what this allows me to do is to be able to add another stroke on there. And now we're getting real retro with our design theme. All right, look at that weird, nasty little yellow color there. And I can bring that up even more. So now we've got something that's looking real southern. And let's drop down the opacity. Maybe try it in the lighter green. It's kind of okay. Position outside. That's good. Light green. Is not that light of a green. Let's try it with the red. A little bit too red. Ooh, white on the outside. Okay. Orange. And just sort of clicking around for something that looks good to me. Not too bright. Okay. Good with that. Totally getting messy letters over on the right-hand side at a smaller scale. Can also fill it with a pattern if we wanted to. Leaves, probably not what we want. Man, I wish, every year that Photoshop just charges you more and more to be able to use it. And we have got to update this pattern library here. Overprint does nothing really noticeable. Center's pretty nice and clean, surprisingly. I usually never end up using that. Thinner outline, I think it looks a little bit stronger. The text is nice and bold and reading and really jumping off our screen pretty nicely. Now, there's still some polish and detailing I would like to do within Photoshop, especially on some of these characters here. 99% within Adobe Illustrator, 10% within Adobe at the very end. So right now I don't really have my cowboys. Let's see if we can trick Photoshop. They've been working on this, right? So, oops, we jump back into Illustrator. Then Photoshop, if we can find the properties for this layer. Window, properties. Now we got our quick action, and we're going to try to remove the background and see what Photoshop thinks we're trying to do here. All right, we got the gal. That'll work for me. Apply layer mask. And let's go in. And what I'm trying to do here is just see if I can. So it pulled the girl the last time. Let's delete all this stuff over on the right-hand side. Now let's leave just the fella and try to run him. Remove background. See if you can just recognize the horse pattern. And yeah, we got him. Love that. Apply the layer mask. Whatever extra stuff it's decided that it needs to keep in there, it doesn't. So we're going to bring both of these together. And we've got the majority of them selected, which is exactly what we want. Didn't quite make it over to the side, but I think that's good enough for me. So if I hold down Shift, get my selection here, grab this little stuff, still holding down Shift. Now we've got a full cowboy on a selected layer, which is exactly what I wanted. So the issue that I'm having with these characters is it doesn't feel like this lighting is quite moving across them enough. I really want something like that. So if you've seen in some of the other projects that I've done, especially down here at the base of her, missing her arm a little bit, but I think that's okay for now. Let's get a fuzzy brush and the eraser. Use my brackets to change my eraser size really quick. Some of this stuff I still want to be fairly dark, but I just want a gradient that's a little bit more imbued across the entire character, which I wasn't, it was just going to be a pain within Illustrator. So let's turn that down. A bit more on the gun, across the horse. There it goes. So the lights really are moving across all of them. This doesn't look very good right now, but we're going to mess with the layer interpolation. There we go. There it is. All right. Let's turn that down just a little bit. And I'm going to use my fuzzy brush once more. So now we're getting just a little bit more red going on over these characters, which is exactly what I wanted. So because we've done this, now and we've got those characters on their own layer and they're duplicated, I can add, let's go in up the opacity. Let me use my smudge tool. I'm still working at 300 DPI. So it's going to slow me down quite a bit here. That's what I'm looking for. Let's pull our colors on over as well. There we go. Nice. And we're out. So now I'm going to use my layer interpolation one more time, and I'm just trying to get a little bit more of that pink from the mountains into the rest of my shot. I know one of these is going to work and look good. Let's try going up again. All right, it's the one that's looks like lava. All right, so that's pretty cool. Let's turn it off, see what it look like without it, and turn it back on. And all I'm going to do is just turn down the opacity of that down to like 50%. Turn it off and on again. There we go. Just a little bit more of the red moving through the entire shot. I think that looks good. Anything else that I'd like to do here? We've got the top of the mountains that I think could have just a little bit more of that red into them. These guys and these guys just bleeding down just a little bit more. And this is a fun way to be able to, after you've had your head in these projects for quite a while, to be able to just look at it in a slightly different manner. So that's just adding a little bit more pink to the overall scene. And I think that's helping it nicely to bring it to where I wanted it to be. I like it. That feels good to me. All right, some of these plants down here are a little bit messy. Let's clean those guys up. So we're gonna grab our blackest black. Doesn't need to be at 100%. They can still be there. A little bit of a line that we can get rid of. That feels good. And yeah, so that looks pretty nice to me overall. I could take my blue jean texture and let's do one more layer. And we're going to grab a little bit of that pink. I'm at 38%. I don't want to do too much this, but just a little bit of atmospheric perspective within there. Oops. Have it. Ah, I see. All right. Down just a little bit. Down, down. All right. Same deal. I'm going to turn down the opacity on that so that it's not really all that visible. There's just a little hint of it. Just a little bit, just to make the colors come together a little bit better. And now we've got this black up at the top. Again, going to turn this way down. And all I want to do is just mess with the interpretation of it just a little bit. That looks pretty good to me. Let's turn it down even further. So we want it like barely there. Yeah, just a hint of it. And that feels pretty nice. So we've retained all the details that we had previously on this. This guy over here is feeling just a little bit too burnt. We're going to turn him down just a little bit. A little bit more of a glow, a little bit more of a highlight on those characters, a little bit more pink within the background. And yeah, these are some subtle, very subtle little adjustments, but I think that it's helping to bring the overall scene together nicely. Let's save this out. Photoshop saved, export as JPEG, export module 5, and 6. Cool. So now we've got the front and back of our CD. Um, within this project, within this module, there's some CD templates that have been uploaded. I've got a few others that I found here. Vectographic Designs, this guy, which is a big guy, but this is the one that I'm going to use for right now. And this becomes pretty simple to be able to do. So we've got the left-hand side. I'm just going to double click on it. That opens up my smart layer. I'm going to go to File, Place, and we want to go to Module 5. Here's my CD cover. So this is the left-hand side. While I'm placing my smart object, I'm just going to go ahead and zoom it. And even at 300 DPI, it might still be a little bit small. And if you find yourself it isn't quite matching up, just stretch it just a little bit. For the mock-ups, it's not as important as you might think. There you go. It's just a little bit wider, but that's looking pretty nice. Let's hit Control S to be able to save it out. Now I can go back into my mock-up, and there it is, hanging out. Ain't no mountain high enough. Let's do the back cover now. Same deal, File and Place. There's my file. Got the navigator. I love having the navigator window open because I can very quickly start to zoom back and scale things if I can't quite reach those edge items. Or sorry, the edge handles. Going down spacebar. When I was first using Photoshop, I used to have to Still stretched, but let's check it out. See how it's looking on our mock-up. And yep, you can't really tell a difference at all there. So I still should have my blue jean material that I used previously. Got a background. Scale it up. Oh yeah, we're using that exact same blue jean material. You can see how the color is getting a little bit crunched here. One day when I have time, I'll build my own super high res library. Let's go to image, adjustments, hue saturation. That blue is pretty darn bright, so I'm going to turn down the saturation on it a great deal so it's not fighting against the CD itself. That looks nice. And so we got the object, shadow, probably adjust those, but right now that's all feeling pretty good to me. Let's go in and let's mess with that blue jean material just a little bit more. So we're going to drop the saturations pretty down on it. Drop the lightness just a little bit more. I wish that it was matching the lighting. So let's see if we can't play with it ourselves. We've got sort of a top light that's going on within this shot. Messing with the layer interpolation again. Lighten, we want it to blend with the blue just a little bit more. There we go. And there it is. So that's a little bit better. And same deal, top left-hand side here. Just to make that lighting, that's noise, a little bit more realistic. There it is. Drop the opacity. There we go. So now that's starting to actually match the lighting that they have on the CD better than just the blank background that they had in there a moment ago. Other fun stuff that we can do. So we've got Ain't No Mountain High Enough in here. Let's pull this guy out. Go back over to our CD mockup, wherever that went. We can close that one probably. Yeah. And now I'm just going to very quickly, not that layer, this layer, drop the Ain't No Mountain High Enough logo. Let's get the right one. Not that guy. That's a little bit messier. Put him back where we found him. And now, because we like our logo so much, worked really hard on that. Still a little bit unreadable in this format here. I'm not too happy with it. So let's go back into wherever we put our CD. So this is because we did non-destructive editing previously. I know I've got that logo chilling here, just waiting for me to drop into something. And now that we've introduced a little bit more white into our shot, bring it up a little bit higher. Ain't no mountain high enough. Lower left-hand side are CDs, if we have the ability to. No. All right. I'd like to bring it up just a little bit higher. The CDs are like perfectly centered. But let's stay there. Smart objects are moving around. There we go. That'll work. So that's still fairly balanced with the logo. That is pretty readable. I like it. And let's export. You change that to say mockup one, but I just want to open this real fast. And there we go. Yeah, I'd say that the text and the lettering could probably still use a little bit more work and a little bit of fine detailing. It feels a little bit sloppy and a little bit fast to me right now. But overall, I'm really happy with the composition and the feeling of it. I think for to create something like this in Adobe Illustrator, it turned out nice. It's accomplishing everything that I was looking for it to do. And yeah, with a couple more mock-ups. One of the cool things here is all I have to do now is make the modifications to that one Photoshop file that I was working on. When I reopen up this mockup file, since it's a smart object, it'll update the logo for whatever changes I make since that file that's in the smart object is still living there. And yeah, pretty cool looking. So moving from this messy looking Adobe Illustrator file and all the steps that we've gone through with the logo, doing some quick polish within Adobe Photoshop, 99% of the way there within within Illustrator, and then just some small little color corrections right at the very end within Photoshop. Can get you there. And yeah, we've got a pretty cool looking design. Hope this has been helpful for you guys for best practices when it comes to using Adobe Illustrator. There's other mockups. I'm not going to spend any more time in this video creating those right now, but that'll give you the basic workflow for what it looks like. You simply double click on the smart object or the layer where it says, "Hey, put your design here." Just double click on it within the layers panel. That'll open up the smart object in a new Photoshop window. And yeah, you're off to the races. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got something out of it. And I hope Illustrator feels a little less intimidating for you in the future, or at least you got some good rules on graphic design along the way too. Have a good one.